Hi, it's Dave Robinson with PlantCoverCrops.com on December 6th, 2011. We're out in a field in northern Indiana. We're looking at cattle grazing cover crops. And this would be some cattle out here where we had oats, cereal rye, and turnips. And we've got a very good stand out here, and the cattle are looking fabulous. The field has been grazed for a while. We also, by the way, had some Sudan grass out in the field as well for a little while that the cattle were grazing on. But this had been a wheat field that was worked up, and then they came back in early August and planted the mixture. It's called Forager mixture, and you can see the real good turnip growth out here. The cattle kind of broke down the fence the other day in a 10-12 inch snow, real heavy wet snow, and with what's left in the field, they decided to go ahead and have the cattle be part of the field. As my wife scans over here to the rest of the field, we can see where they had rotationally grazed. This last section, it would have been probably better for the cattle to have stayed on that longer, but again, the fence got knocked down. You can see over the ridge where the cattle had really grazed quite well on the turnips and on the grasses, cereal grasses. The good news is there's still a lot of turnip bulbs in the ground. There's still a fair amount of fodder on top of the ground as well. I'm sure the cattle, especially with what's close to us, will continue to eat a good amount of the greens off. But even though it's quite wet, we've probably had 5 inches of rain in addition to the 10 to 12 inches of snow. And while it's wet, and while we've got some pretty good divots from the cattle here, in fact, Sally, why don't you pan down here a little bit, just kind of showing an idea of how the cattle are getting into the soil 3 or 4 inches deep. The good news is the roots on these turnips and the roots on these oats and the cereal grains are probably down in that 20 to 30 inch deep range with the amount of growth that we have out here. So we're going to have some limited compaction on the top of on the surface of the soil, but in reality, as freezing and thawing goes on, and as these turnips decay, as the oats decay, and as the rye gets growing, we'll have very, very little compaction in here when this goes to corn next year. Good nutrient recycling. We've got a lot of manure out here, and we've got real high quality forage, and this is providing extended grazing season for this producer and saving him a lot of money. The cattle are in excellent, excellent body condition, and I think that's something that is very impressive as we look at the fact that he's not feeding anything other than water, some mineral, and this mixture, and it's working out just real well for him. Just talked to a gentleman earlier, said maybe the cattle are in too good a condition because this is such high quality feed. Again, Dave Robinson from PlantCoverCrops.com on December 6th, 2011.